Hey, so I almost never do my Michelle minutes this early. It's barely noon where I am. But we've been sort of having this conversation about change on Facebook, and a couple other people have been sort of chiming in. And I wanted to sort of answer the question now because I feel like I know the answer for myself now, and I probably won't know it tonight at 9 o'clock or won't be able to articulate it. So I posted up a little blurb, a little quotation from the some philosophy book. I actually stole it from somebody else's wall, and it basically says, if you are prepared to change, if you recognize that change happens all the time, that you won't try to hold on. You will let it flow. And of course, we're humans, and we like consistency and to know that things will remain constant in our life. I know that's true for me. I love to know that my life is going to be as predictable as I plan it, right? So when things change, it can be difficult for some people. I know it's been difficult for me. And so the way I can best answer this question for some of the folks who've been talking about change here is to sort of, here's my little testimony around change. So those who've been watching my body project for the last 260 plus days know I keep referring that a significant thing happened in my life in the last 18 months or so. And so I haven't talked about it a lot here just because I haven't seen it as relevant, but I will share this little piece with it, that I lost a relationship about 18 months ago. And the loss was significant, and the betrayal that was attached to it was significant and profound. And it happened at a time when I was also changing in other places in my life, and I needed the relationship to be my anchor. And when it wasn't there, a lot of things went away. Uh, my choices that I made around the job went away, money went away, security went away, and the relationship obviously went away. And so I found myself sort of floating. In the midst of it, I was in a great deal of pain and hurt and despair. And I just couldn't understand why this was happening. I had planned so meticulously. I had been a good person. Why was this happening? And now when I look back, I recognize the situation was a lot more painful because I was holding on to something that had died, that had gone away, that I couldn't keep, that was pulling away from me, and I was using all my energy pulling it, trying to pull it back to me. And if I had been a little bit more flexible, maybe it wouldn't have been as painful. Losing a relationship and somebody you truly love is painful, but I think I made it more painful but by trying to make it stay. So in just reflecting after reading some of the comments and talking to a couple folks about change, I think that philosophy is about when change happens, and change is happening around us all the time. Sometimes we just can't see it. It's to be flexible within it. So and see it, I guess, embrace it and see change as a blessing, and see it as an opportunity to reassess your life, right? And so since that loss of that relationship, a lot of things have changed in my life. Some things against my will, but some things, a lot of things that I'm actively participating in it. And the Body Project is sort of the larger umbrella of that, but so many things have happened underneath that Body Project umbrella, right? And so the first, I guess the first 9 months when I first lost the relationship, I thought I was just by myself and in despair, and I had lost everything, and I couldn't see how I was going to get from out of this hole, and felt so surprising and profound. But when I look back at 2010, that I consider the worst year in my entire life, really it was an opportunity for me to reconnect to my family and friends. I've always been sort of an independent spirit, and I see myself as somebody who can just be in the world by themselves, and that wasn't true. Like, the only way I made it through 2010 was my family and friends, both financially and emotionally. My family came and saved me financially. Some of my friends did as well, and my friends were these amazing anchors who sat and watched me just fall apart and cried and held me and did the best they could in a level of despair that I was in. But they were constantly there, and they were reminding me of who I was, even when I couldn't see myself, even when it felt so profoundly difficult to stay in the state that I was in. And so when I reflect back on 2010, I just shored up all these amazing relationships that I was able to take with me forward. who those same people now just, they're able to reflect back to me like, Shell, remember when this was just crazy and hard and over the top, right? And so they're along with me on the journey for the next part. And when I felt stronger through their help, I was able to start tackling some of the things that have been lifelong issues for me. Not just my weight, but how I see myself in the world and how I participated in my own sort of people holding me back because I'm fearful, or I don't want to be alone, or I don't want to lose something. And so in the midst of the change, I started to participate more in my own life. And so the Body Project, again, sort of represents the larger piece of that. I know for a fact, I just feel it right now, that without the loss of that relationship and the way that it left my life in the most profound and difficult and hurtful way, I would have never told my mother about molestation in my life. I'd held on to that secret for 25 plus years, and it really took believing that I lost everything. So why was I holding on to this last little vestige of an old secret that I had nothing to do with creating? Why was I being a prisoner in that secret when it wasn't mine? So telling my mother the secret really just relieved me of that pressure, right? What I learned like the last year of my relationship with that person was that I allowed myself to be mute, that I saw that something was wrong. I couldn't figure out what it was. I didn't want to rock the boat, so I just was like, I won't cause any problems. She had lost her job. There was all these other things going on. I won't be a problem. As opposed to tackling it head on and like, baby, what's going on, right? Maybe it wouldn't have gotten out of control as it got. And so I've learned not to hold my tongue. And I know it sounds like somebody who talks about herself or talks about her project all the time. I'm actually a person who tries to like be even keel and keep it all just settled. And I'm the one who's always like, y'all, it's not that deep, right? So I've allowed it to be deep. I've allowed people to hear my voice, for me to speak my displeasure when things are not going the way I think they should or how I want them to. I've learned how to not be a part of something I don't want to be a part of, and that's all good for y'all, but I'm not going to entertain that, And so I think if we embrace change as an opportunity to reassess our lives, to look and say what's great and what's not so great, how am I participating in my own pain, and how I can build and grow and be better, I think that's it. And it's hard when you're losing something you feel like you love. I love this person. I still love this person. But I know for a fact that she came into my life right now, in the state she's currently in, she'd only bring the pain back because she hasn't done her work while I'm doing my work. So there's no point in sitting here and wishing her back. That's ridiculous, because I would just propel myself back into the pain that I tell myself that I've been trying to get away from. So that's how I've been able to make peace with change and embrace it and see it as an opportunity to be excited to do something else. Like this body that I'm working on, right now I weigh something I have not weighed in 10 years. And my relationship with food has changed. My relationship with people have changed. I have sort of been able to release these secrets and concerns that are not mine, and I'm not under the pressure of that. And maybe that person came into your life to give you something. Maybe my lover who left, she came to give me, this was her gift. It was it came wrapped in barbed wire, but it was a gift that I'd be free from all the other things that I've been allowing to drag myself into. And maybe we'll reconnect, and maybe we'll see each other in a different light. But right now, I have to embrace the gift of I've been allowed to free myself of all those other things. Because if I felt that much pain around the loss of this thing, look at all the other things I could let go. And all the things that got ripped out of my hand anyway. So I just start letting other things go and start building a new life and start building in the vision that I want for myself. So, maybe that person came into your life to give you 2 beautiful kids, and that's their sole purpose. And then the next person will come into your life to give you something else. Because remember, they're also changing and growing too. They're also going through their own transformation. So that's what I got for right now, And like I said, it's not that change doesn't hurt, because it does. I miss my person all the time. But I have to recognize I'm doing my work in the ways that I can do it right now. And I'm grateful for how my life is profoundly different from 18 months ago. Profoundly different. And I'm glad that I've been a part of that change and not just letting it run over me. So that's my answer, guys. All right. Bye.